All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your patience. We were expecting a few more people this morning, but they will probably come in. It's the first rain of the season in Fresno, so maybe that has delayed them. Tongue in cheek there. Welcome to our Ames Play Shops. We have a series of play shops throughout the year, and we've had two this fall, and this is our third. And then we'll take a break, and we'll start them back up in the spring, starting in February. So I think you have in your bag, or if you're online, and your materials, you have a list of the play shops for throughout the year. We have done one on I Like to Move It and links and levers this fall. And of course, today we're going to look up Light Up Your World. You have a pack and a bag in front of you has a set of materials and templates that we will be using today. You should, if you're online, have received those same materials as well so that we can build together. We would like to share our ideas together. And so we do have a Padlet, which is set up so that you can take pictures of your ideas, your creations throughout the session, whether you're in person or online, and be able to share those within the Padlet. So if you could, if you are willing, could use the QR code that is on the screen and log on to the Padlet and share your ideas. We would love to interact with those today, but also have a record of those ideas as we proceed in the future. The materials you will need, other than what's in your bag, if you're online, Scotch tape, pencil or pen, scissors, crayons, markers, those type of things, art things, push pin for a hole punch would also be very helpful. So we have those materials in the room. If you can gather those, for those of you who are online, those also would be very helpful. Okay, so what we're going to do then today, oh, yeah, go ahead. Okay. What we're going to do today is talk about the LED lights and making simple circuits. And we're going to apply that to some of the creations that we come up with. What is an electrical circuit? How can we define an electrical circuit? I mean, give me some, what do you need for an electrical circuit? Where do we find them? Power? We want electrical power, we need electrical circuit, right? Any other ideas? Need metal, need something that's conductive, that will conduct. What does it conduct? Copper, those metals that are conductive, good, yeah. And those are metals are very good at conducting heat, but they also are good at conducting electricity. Do you see that note, Scott? Yep. Yeah. And we're going to create a circuit, which is a circle that is going to conduct electricity from, and essentially what, if you could go to the next slide, Scott. A basic electrical circuit has, in its simplest form, has three things. It has a battery, it has a conductive material, such as a wire or conductive tape, as we're going to use today, and it has a LED light. So it has we're going to use a light source will be our LED light. The conductive wire is going to be a copper tape, and we're going to use a button battery to be able to move that around, or be able to conduct that electrical circuit. There, I guess now I'm in the screen, aren't I? I keep walking around. So that's as simple as we can get. And those are the parts of this electrical circuit. But that is also the basis of the electricity that's in your house. If electricity in your house is you have a circuit that conducts electricity from one part of the house to another through copper wires to a light socket or to a socket on your wall, which is connected to a fan or connected to a ceiling fan. It has a switch in there which you can interrupt the circuit, turn it on and off. But you have a flow of electrons through that circuit. And whether it is what we're going to build here today, or that's a circuit in your house, or it's a circuit in your TV, or your calculator, or your blender, it's the same circuit that we're talking about. You need to have a complete circuit that allows that flow of electrons. And that's what we're going to look at today. So next slide. We're going to use LED lights today. And an LED light in its is you have in your bag. And we're going to look at a couple different types, and there are many. We'll look at a couple different ones. This particular LED light is what we call a gumdrop type of LED light, because the top kind of looks like a gumdrop and has two wires coming out from below. And if you look closely, you'll notice that of those two wires, one is just slightly longer than the other. Okay, that turns out to be important a little bit later on. But this is LED light, and if we break it down, basically it has a LED light has an LED chip. It's a silicon-based chip, which is connected to a wire buried in an epoxy lens. And then the two wires then has an anode and a cathode, a positive and a negative, which then we flow electrons through it. The other type of LED light that we're going to use, is just relatively new, is these sticker LED lights. And those you also have in your bag. They look quite a bit different, and they're quite a bit smaller. And we'll see what those look like, and how they're really cool, how they light up, and how we can use those in some of the circuit cards that we use. Now, where do we use LED lights? Well, we're starting to use them everywhere. Light bulbs, we're replacing our incandescent light bulbs now with LED lights. Where LED lights are actually much more efficient than incandescent light bulbs, which is one of the reasons why we're replacing them. 15 years ago, when they first were invented and came out, they were like $20 a piece. And everybody said, well, I'm not buying an LED light bulb. That's a $20 light bulb. You know how many light bulbs I got in my house? Well, they're no longer $20 a piece, and they're much cheaper than that. And we'll talk in the next slide what kind of energy efficiency we can save with those. But they also can look like this. Fluorescent light bulbs or LED light bulbs now. You can get them in strings of colored lights that you can change the colors or the patterns with your phone. People are lighting up, accent lighting their rooms or their homes in that way. You can, Christmas lights or LED lights, you can do the same thing. Cars now have LED light bulbs instead of incandescent light bulbs, and they're brighter and actually last a whole lot longer. As I say, they come in different colors. You can also use the string of light bulbs. Now we're starting to see a type where neon signs are being replaced with LED lights. And instead of using neon, they use LEDs and these string forms that they can put into patterns, and have various advantages for that. So what we want to do first is make the absolutely simplest circuit you can. So in your equipment, I want you to take out one gumdrop light bulb in your materials, take in one gumdrop light bulb and one of your batteries. So you'll find a packet of batteries, the button batteries there, and go ahead and take one of those batteries out with your gumdrop light, with a gumdrop light bulb. And we're going to see if you can light up your light bulb with just a battery and a bulb. As you're doing that, I'll talk a little bit about the efficiency of an LED light bulb or why those bulbs are being replaced. At least in California, we have mandated that all incandescent light bulbs will eventually be replaced by LED light bulbs. And one of the reasons is that an LED light bulb is 90% more efficient than an incandescent light bulb. And one of the reasons for that is 90% of the energy that goes in an incandescent light bulb, 90% of the energy goes into heat, doesn't go into light. So for those of us who are old enough to work with incandescent light bulbs, we know that you don't touch a incandescent light bulb when it has been on because it is very hot. You'll burn your fingertips, right? And that's because most of the energy goes into heat loss. Where for an LED light bulb, it's the reverse. 90% energy goes into light, only 10% of energy goes into heat. So you save a whole lot of energy by replacing your light bulbs with incandescent light bulbs with LED light bulbs because of that. Also, LED light bulbs last up to 25 times longer than an incandescent light bulbs. So technically, the light bulbs if you would replace the light bulbs in your house, it would be 10 to 15 years before you have to replace them again if you do that with LED light bulbs. So now that they're not $20, $30 a piece, it makes a little more sense or it's a little more palatable to replace your light bulbs in your house. And you can save hundreds of dollars a year, if not $1,000s a year, just by replacing your light bulbs. Now, I see some of you have gotten your simplest circuit to work, right? What did you find as you did that?
Your negative leg has to touch the copper and your positive has to touch the battery.
There's directional, isn't it? Doesn't work both ways, right? If you have those wires on, you have to put those wires on either side of your battery. So your battery has a pole. It has a positive side and a negative side. And if you look closely, there's a little plus and a little minus on either side of that battery. But the wires of that LED light bulb only work one way, right? So
Wait, I found.
Neither one works?
No.
Well, I would say try another light bulb. Sometimes the light bulbs don't work, sometimes the batteries, but usually it's the light bulb.
Oops. Hold it up, look it, I'm just gonna take a picture.
But let's see. Oh, so it has to be on either side. So put a wire on either side of the battery like that. There you go.
Okay.
And if you go this way, then it doesn't work.
Okay.
But this way it does.
It is.
So each side of the battery is a positive or minus, or we talked before about the anode and the cathode. The battery also has an anode and a cathode. The way I think of it is anode is negative, a cathode is positive. Cat's positive. So that's how I remember it. Cats are positive, yeah.
Said no.
Just to be clear, I don't want to offend anybody. I have both a cat and a dog, and they play well together. So, okay, don't want to get in.
Dogs are negative.
Yeah, I know. There was no dog in that sentence whatsoever. I just want to be clear. I know how contentious that issue can be.
Mine says she's allergic to cats, so you.
Nope, okay. But now I got to find another analogy. All right, everybody get their light bulb lit? No one, everyone? Excellent. Oh, I like that. I need a picture of that. That's great. I like that. Okay, so we've made our first circuit. We have success. So what we're going to do next slide, Scott. What we're going to do is we're going to make another circuit, which is a little more complex, but uses the sticker LED lights, which are really cool. So if you look in your bag where you had your bulbs, your gumdrop LEDs, you'll find that there's some copper tape, which you'll need. And then there is the little sticker LED lights. And they're kind of triangles with gold contacts on the top and the bottom. You go ahead, those are 3 LED lights, believe it or not, tiny as they may be. Go ahead and pull those out and pull your copper tape out as well.
Also take the copper.
And of course, the other thing you will need then is your first template, which is your simple circuit template, which looks like this. This is half the page in your bag. You'll find 2 of these on 1 page. So you can go ahead and cut one of these so it looks like the long way, so it looks like this. That is your first simple circuit template. Those of you who are online,
There's 15 on that.
oh, you got it on there. Excellent. Got too many camera views looking too many ways. That's maybe why I don't have picture in picture at home.
Oh, yeah, I don't know which one I got this morning, but I think it was, no, it's from Isadora. I'm not sure if it was.
Okay, so if you look at your template there, you'll notice that we have patterned on that template what our materials or what we're going to use. So the 2 long gray bars, that is going to be where we're going to put our copper tape. That's going to we're going to attach our copper tape on those long gray bars. The red circle is where the battery is going to sit, and the red triangle is where one of those LED lights is going to sit. Now, if you notice, what do those gray bars not do? They do not touch, right? Because those are 2 halves of our circuit. So we don't want that copper tape to touch. They want to get close because we need to get close enough so that LED light can bridge across those copper tape bars, but they don't want to be touch. Okay? So you can use your copper tape and trim off a length of that copper tape that is that long. Scott, should we get a?
You need your camera?
Yep.
So just do your share
Oh.
trick again.
And go to the band. Okay. All right. There we go. So you take your copper tape and trim off 2 pieces that are just that size. And then you can peel off the adhesive backing on that tape.
Doesn't matter what color we put in the bottom corner.
Say it again.
Doesn't matter what color we put in the bottom.
It does not.
You can sit anywhere you want.
I got it.
So I would put the tape down first.
I see the red photo.
So the copper tape is very thin. It takes a little bit of finesse to work with it.
Doesn't matter if it doesn't.
For me, I peel off the end and then I start laying it down. And you have plenty of copper tape, so if it gets tangled or ripped, you can just start with another piece. But usually I start it at one end and then I will lay it down on my gray template on the pattern there. And then slowly work it.
Working on.
Doesn't have, the template is just a guide. It doesn't have to be exact. The only thing that really is exact is that, just to remember that those two pieces of copper tape cannot touch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
So one trick I have found is that once I get the backing off the copper tape a little bit, I fold that back so the copper tape is then exposed. And then I can easily attach that
No, we had a custodian that always.
And then it was.
and then start pulling that out.
And then with this copper.
There we go.
let's put a strip where-
Like I said, it's not quite on the colored gray part of the template. That's okay. Key is they're not touching.
Yeah, go ahead with that one.
Oh,
I
that
see.
didn't have to be on the bottom, right?
So no, the battery up here, this is a light.
Okay, that's what we're.
You have the light bulb in the middle. Right above the light bulb, there's a plus sign
Oh,
under,
yes,
or there's a
the-
minus
The
sign.
minus and the plus, right?
The minus sign right there.
The minus
And
and
the
the
plus
plus.
is on the, yeah.
All right, now if you got your copper tape down, now you can look at your LED light, your sticker light, which is I have a set of 3 in my hand, believe it or not. And if you look really close at those, you will see that you have 2 gold bars, and in the middle of those gold bars on each of those, there is a bump. And that bump is your LED light. That is what's going to light up. And you'll notice that there's a plus and a minus on those, right?
This way, and then.
And so that is, you have a contact both on the front and on the back of the LED. So you can either put the sticker down first and then put the copper tape above, or you can put the copper tape down and then, as we're going to do, put the LED over the top. But you want to lay that LED light into the spot where that template indicated.
So you want the plus sign on this, touching this tape, and you want.
And then really press down so that those gold front and back, that gold is a contact
You just need to put it
for
directly.
that LED light. You got it to light. Excellent.
Here.
Right.
Still needs a
He's
circuit.
obsessed with
That
just
is-
the
And
the
then-
gumdrops.
And then clever how then you have that as a switch. So the fold over is your switch.
Oh, excellent. So now you actually.
So what you can do now is use that flap, this flap, part of your flap. It can be a artwork, or we can make a card.
Yeah.
So you can think about the light shines through the card. So, or just fold over like this. There you go.
Yeah,
So think about what kind of story you want to tell, or what kind of card you might want to make, which represents that.
yeah.
Do you want to show her? Do you remember you put the battery here?
Yes.
Yeah, the battery right there.
Oh, that is this is a foam piece and for another piece that we're going to do a little bit later. We're not quite ready for that yet. But I like your card. It's lit up.
Thank you.
Okay, and then you have a place for you can put your battery.
That's okay.
What goes right here?
So these gray bars are just showing you where to put the copper tape. So that piece that you're cutting right here, you're gonna put it on the grid bar. But you really wanna make sure that it's close to this copper tape.
Let's see if I can.
And now you're
And if you fold your
thicker light, it should be.
fold along the dotted line, that then becomes your switch. And you notice your light bulb lights up. If your battery is flipped over,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
you notice it doesn't light up,
In the green.
right? Just like your LED light before, it is directional. So there's only one way the battery can rest for your bulb to light up.
Green, right? There's not enough.
And you can tape down your battery on the edges, just so that there's a place for contact for that copper copper tape to touch for to be able to light it up. You could also tape down your switch so it's on all the time, so it lights up.
Of the triangle is.
Right.
Negative.
Now, what we call this a circuit card is that you can fold along the other perforated line, which is on the other side of the card. And then you have a blank slate. You have a blank canvas that if we fold this over and it lights up, you notice that the light shines through your card, right? So what you can do is, and what we want you to do is to create a card that is a light up card. So draw a picture, think about what might light up and what you might want to draw on the front page that shines through. I could give lots of examples. I'm not going to. I want you to come up with some examples. Think about what kind of story you want to tell, what that might involve that light on your blank canvas. We'll give you about 10 minutes you have markers, you have pens and pencils. Think about what kind of story you might want to tell with your
We need the negative side.
circuit card.
We need the positive side of the battery.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alejandra. I am one of the coordinators here at Ames. Happy to be here. It's fun to kind of walk around and see all of your creations that you're starting to make. So like Steve mentioned, you all have been working on a flat piece of paper, right? With your template, building a circuit on your template, drawing pictures on a flat piece of paper. You've been really working in that two-dimensional world. We are gonna move it up and we're gonna transition to building three-dimensional shapes and adding circuits to those. So we're gonna first start off just building a three-dimensional shape. We're gonna start off and build a cube. So when you think of a cube, what do you think of?
Ice cube.
You think, okay, so there's cubes that are all around us, kind of like an ice cube. What else do you think of when you think of a cube? Yeah. Oh, magnetic cube, like magnetiles. Okay, so when you play with magnetiles, you kind of put a bunch of those together and you can make a cube, right? Yeah. Do you use triangle magnetiles to make a cube, or what? Or do you use rectangular magnetiles to make a cube? Do you use squares magnetiles to make a cube? Rectangular, maybe? Yeah.
Use squares, a lot like, 6 squares, and then you can stick them together, and then you can make things in your house.
Yeah, so you can actually use rectangular magnetiles to make three-dimensional shapes, right? Other three-dimensional shapes, but you can specifically use squares, right? To make a cube, right? Out of magnetiles, right? So our cubes are made out of our squares, right? So we have several squares that are all the same size, right? Same shape, obviously, because they're all squares that come together to make a three-dimensional cube, right? So if you notice on our cube here, we have a square, right? A square where all the sides are equal. And each of these squares, right, is what we call a face. How many faces make up, how many square faces make up this cube? What do you think? Yeah,
It makes 6.
it makes 6. Yeah, so we have 6 faces. Our faces are this part of the cube right here, our square. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the bottom, 5, and 6, right? So we have 6 faces that are making up our cube, right? And the parts of our cube where our faces come together, right, where they meet, are called our edges, right? So we have one face here, and we have another face here, and where they meet is this long part of our cube, right, called the edge. How many edges does our cube have? Yeah,
It has 6.
it has 6 edges. Should we count? Yeah, okay, so we'll count. So we have 1 edge, 2, 3, 4 edges, right? And then 5, 6, 7, 8 edges. And then we have another face on the bottom here. 9, 10, 11, 12 edges. So our cube has 6 faces, 12 edges, right? And then we have another part of our cube here, and this is where our edges come to meet, right? So our edges also has corners, right? Where we have 1, 2, 3 edges are coming to meet right here in the corner. How many corners does our cube have? Yeah, you're really thinking about the cubes today. How many corners? How many do you think?
6 edges.
6 corners, you think? Yeah. 8 corners? Should we count them? Okay, so let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. And then I'm coming to the bottom of our cube. 5, 6, 7, 8 corners. So we have, our cube is made up of 8 corners, right? So we're gonna actually use paper today to build this cube. And you're going to need 6 pieces of square shaped paper, our origami paper that we have. So those are rectangular pieces of paper. You should have in there, yes, those right there. So we're gonna need 6 of those origami papers that are in the shape of a square. And we're gonna end up, I just have 1 on the screen here, but you should have 6.
I got all.
They might all be different colors. Some of the colors might overlap. That's okay. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start with 1 piece of paper. So grab your first piece that you're gonna start with. And we're gonna fold this one a certain way, and then you're gonna do that same fold for the other 5 pieces of paper, okay? So we have our square here, and the first fold that we're gonna make, right, is we're gonna bring, so we have these 2 edges of our square here that we're gonna fold inwards, right? So you're gonna fold them inwards this way so that they meet somewhere in the middle there. Yeah, it kind of looks like a window now that you can kind of open and close. Yep. Yep. So our square, we just folded the 2 edges inwards. And now it looks more like a rectangle, right? And now we can rotate our paper this way, long ways. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the 2 short sides of our rectangle, and we're going to fold them inwards, and they're going to meet somewhere in the middle, close to the middle as you can make it. So we started off with a large square piece of paper, And we've made 2 folds and turned it into a small square where each side is about the same size. Yes.
Like this?
Do you have a square? Do you have a small square? Yeah, you do. Yep.
This?
Perfect. All right. So on one side you have the fold, you can see the folds that you made, and if you flip it over, right, you can see that smaller square. Okay. All right. So we're going to put this one to the side here, and you are going to do the same 2 folds on the other 5 pieces of paper.
Do it on the same ones on this.
So start bringing in those 2 sides, meeting somewhere in the middle. And then again, bringing those 2 shorter sides inwards and meeting in the middle.
See them?
Ta-da!
So where's it?
It's a lot. Yep, take your time. You have some time to fold. I had already folded them. I folded them before. Just so that you could have some examples to look at.
Do all the papers?
No. Yeah, sure they should. Sure they don't escape.
These gotta be folded.
I know. Like, there's like she did it, that's like, oh my God.
What's 2026? I've been trying to work out.
That's like 10.
You go help, now you go around and help the others. Help me, help me.
They don't escape. How many do we have? Oh, no, I didn't. And that's part of it.
Whatever stories have cranes, I saw. It's busy time. Right, yes.
We have one that has a whole bunch.
Can't read on that one.
That's okay, I got 2 more. We got 6.
Okay, what's one or 6?
You know, anyone with grades, you like, I seriously, every school.
Now we have 1.
You lost me. I got like.
There you go.
I'm so sad. All I was thinking about was going.
Yeah, you're good.
I like how you made that. Yeah, 5.
Yeah, someone had like.
Simple?
I couldn't my phone, and then I found it, and my first text on my phone was, my sister asked me if I could get a Starbucks. I was like, I just gotta go. And he said, I think my grandma's so I was like, my claim. It's really a mind block. He doesn't have like the because it's a. Because if they don't have, they have to, show it like they have to call it finished. So, and that's a different kind of accident, and he doesn't have that kind of. Okay, so.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next step here. So we have our 6 folded squares, and these 6 folded squares, right, are essentially going to be the 6 faces of our cube. So the next step is we're essentially putting these pieces together, kind of like a puzzle, right? You like puzzles? Excellent. So you're gonna like this one. All right, so grab your first square or that you want to start with. Your first color, okay? And you want to put it so that you can see the folds, right? And the square where you can't see the folds, that's going to be the outside of the cube. That's going to be your face, right? So you want to put it, you want to flip it over so that the folds are pointing upward so that you can see the folds. And this is going to be the inside of the cube, right? So you're going to grab another one. And you're going to take, so on my purple one that I'm starting with here, you can see the inside of the square right here, right? And then you have these 2 flaps. So you're going to take a flap of another one, and you're going to lay it over the top half of this square, okay? So you're taking this flap, and you're just laying it right on top of the top half of the square of their first face. Okay, so I took my flap and I just laid it right over. Okay, you're gonna take another one, another paper, folded paper, and you're gonna take one of the flaps from that third paper, and you're gonna lay it over the bottom half of that original square that we're working with. Okay, so right now this is where we're at, what your cube should look like, or your soon-to-be cube. Okay. So right now we have one face that's touching of the cube, that's touching the table, right? That you cannot see, right? We have another face over here, and we have another face over here. Okay. So you're going to grab another folded paper, and we're going to add it as our 4th face of our cube. And the way that you're going to slide it in, okay, is we have these 2 flaps here on the side that are going to go one on this side and one on this side. It's just going to slide right in. And if you need your neighbor to kind of help you, kind of hold some pieces while you build, you can definitely help each other, okay? So the flaps are what's going to be holding the 6 pieces of paper together on the inside of the cube. And then you are going to add your 5th paper to the other side. You're going to kind of slide one flap in, slide the other flap in. Again, all the flaps should stay on the inside of the cube. And on the outside, you should start to see some of the faces of the cube.
Beautiful.
Okay. There you go. If you got it, check in with a neighbor to see if they need a little help. Yes, you got it. Excellent job. You can count the sides. You can count the faces of your cube. All right, now your last piece of paper, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna add it to the top here. This is gonna be the last face of your cube and you're just gonna slide the flaps right in.
Yeah, they made it tiny enough.
Awesome.
Right through this door and into the.
Oh,
Excellent. I'm seeing a lot of cubes coming together. Great. If you got it, you could kind of check in with your neighbor. Awesome. All right. So we have our cube here. We took all of those squares, put them together into a cube. And now Steve is going to guide us into another, where you're going to be building another cube. And we're going to be adding some circuits to those cubes.
For this part of your activity, you'll need another one of our templates, which is in your bag, and that is this the large the large pull-up polyhedra net. Hey, that $10 really fast.
I don't even think I can say it.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm on. The large pull-up polyhedra net. I'm gonna definitely need another cup of coffee before I do that 10 times. Looks like a large cross. There is a small pull-up polyhedra in template that it should be pretty right beside it. That kind of gives the instructions on the left side of and the right side. So you can also use, I'll be walking through the instructions, but kind of lays it out there as well. You can use that as a guide. So first thing we're going to do, there's a large and a small version of this. We've decided to go with a large version because it's a little easier to manipulate the first time. And then once you know how to do it, then you can go to the smaller version. So what I want you to do is go ahead and cut out that large pull-up polyhedra. Cut out that cross.
Oh, yeah.
We're cutting on the side. Oh. You're gonna build a cube now, but differently. What?
As you're cutting out your polyhedra, how many faces did your cube have? 6 faces on your cube, right? And it had 8 corners. If you count the corners on your cube, you'll find that there are 8 corners. So you'll notice the shape that you're cutting out now. How many squares are in that shape? Ah, there are also 6, isn't there?
yeah.
So now that, as you've cut out your cross, you'll notice that there is a series of dotted lines, and you want to fold along those dotted lines, each of those. You have, as someone pointed out, you have 6 squares. And you're going to fold along each of those dotted lines.
Along with all that, like,
Kind of separate those squares.
Got it.
Okay.
yeah, you don't know if that's what you're doing. Don't do that.
And then once you have folded along those lines, now you will use your hole punch. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots labeled A through E on your template, polyhedra template, and you're going to punch out each of those black dots in those corners. It doesn't have to be exact. You just don't want to get too close to the edge. And if we do, we can add a little bit of tape. But A through E, you want to punch out each of those holes.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. 6 holes punched.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a special paint.
Yeah.
Now, out of your bag, you'll find some colored cardstock or thicker 8x10 paper. You'll need a background for this. Go ahead and take out your favorite color.
How would you want to make it?
I have picked red, but you can pick whatever color you want.
My sister had a- My sister wrote it.
Probably not.
And once you have picked out your favorite color, you want to arrange your template. So the top of it is just half an inch or so from the top, centered on that background. And then you're going to take a piece of Scotch tape, your clear tape. And you want to attach this template to the background, colored background piece, right at the first square, at the first dotted line there. So I'm laying my tape on the first square, right at the dotted line. across so that it adheres our cube template to the background. So that it's still bent, you still want it to bend, but it's attached right there.
Bottom. Good job. We didn't point them.
Okay, so now we're going to attach the circuit to our template. And you'll notice it looks very much the same as we did with the first template we had, is you have a gray bar which on our template, which is where our copper tape is going to go. And the circle is where our battery is going to go. So go ahead and cut a piece of copper tape, which is that length.
Don't.
The one you cut.
The growth is just long. Few loops around.
Approximately that length. It does not have to be exact. And again, once I peel the backing away from the copper tape, I usually bend it right away. So I have just a tab. That makes it easier to be able to attach. Copper tape is very thin and flexible. And especially if it's too long a piece, it gets crinkled and knotted pretty quickly.
You cut it to the right side?
You tie it?
Just a little bit short, but
That's approximate.
it's okay.
You notice on mine that I'm a little off the shadowed part, and that's okay too.
We're all a little pretty.
I'm a lot off.
See, you've been talking to my wife, haven't you? All right, the next thing you're going to do is you need to take your battery. Take a button battery. And find the side that has the plus on it. Yeah.
Does copper tape go over the clear tape?
Yes.
Let's go.
You definitely want the copper, you want to put the clear tape down first and then the copper tape over the top of that. The button battery has a smooth side and a textured side. The textured side is the negative side. The smooth side, if you notice, it has a plus on it. If you shine the light on it just right. And the plus side is what we want. You want to take a piece of clear tape that is longer than the battery. And cover a third to a half of that battery. It's hard, a little hard on the shiny side. Say about half of that battery. You don't want to cover the whole battery, just about half of it.
And we did that.
You okay?
It's a little hard to see without a background, with a back that helps. So my tape covers about half that battery. And then I'm going to attach that to my template on the circle where the tape is on the bottom half leaving the top half of that battery free.
I need an extra.
So what we've done is we've secured that battery to our template, but we've left the terminal exposed, or part of that, the plus side exposed, because we want, when we want a conductor to touch it, we want it to be able to conduct electricity. If it is all covered with tape, then it wouldn't, tape would act like an insulator and it wouldn't conduct electricity and our light bulb wouldn't light. Any questions? Okay. Now go ahead and take out one of your gumdrop LEDs. Those are your large LED light bulbs. And we want that light bulb to light up, right? We want to be able to light, remember that one way it lights up and one way it doesn't. It's directional with these batteries. And so what I would do is I would spread out, and one pole is longer and one pole is shorter on your light bulb. And I can never remember which. Is it long pole or short pole? Is it positive or negative? I can't remember. Cat is positive. I remember that for the battery, but I don't have a mnemonic to help me remember for the bulb. So I spread those poles apart, and then I touch one pole to my tape and one pole to my battery. Because remember, the tape is touching the bottom part of that battery, the anode, and the top part of that battery is the cathode. So if you take the wire of your LED and touch the tape and the battery, then if it is in the right direction, it will light up. If it's in the reverse direction, it won't light up. And it looks like it's the short pole, the short wire touching the copper tape causes mud. You got it to light up. Excellent. Okay, so you know now which way it needs to go. The short wire needs to be on the copper tape, and the long wire needs to be touching the battery. Okay, so we want this to light up. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually manipulate, or going to bend these wires. So take the short wire on your LED light and bend it straight flat out like that. And then you're going to curve it around. You're going to make a loop in that wire.
That's the short.
Well, you're going to actually do it with both of them. You're going to bend them in opposite directions and make a loop
Like this.
on either side.
You're gonna make two.
So you have a bow tie.
Oh, my God.
Looks like a bow tie out of your wires that is flat on your bulb.
There's the apple, teacher.
Okay. And then on the wire that is, if you've kept track, on the wire that is the long wire, you're going to bend that one up.
The positive side.
So the positive side is, the cathode side is going to be bent up, so that instead of the anode side is going to be flat, the short side is going to be flat, and the anode is going to be bent up like that.
See which one's the one. Got everything somewhere.
Out.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this LED and we're going to attach one side to your copper tape. We're going to tape that down with a clear tape to your copper tape. And then the other side is going to be, well, we're going to move that far enough away so that it doesn't touch the battery. But what we're end up going to do is what's going to happen, and we haven't done it yet, of course, but we're going to run a string through the holes in our poly pull-up so that it curls up and it closes up. And so when that closes up, it's going to then going to push this LED against that battery and it's going to light up. That's what we want. Okay, so there's going to be a little bit of tinkering to get this to work, and that's the fun part, by finding the right bend and the right distance away. But one way to test if you've got the light bulb in the right direction is just to put your light bulb on the copper tape and then move it towards your battery, and if it lights up, then you know you have it in the right direction. If it's reversed, then if it's not lighting up, then you need to reverse it and have it face the other orientation.
We tape down the light.
I would say yes. I'm trying to think we should do first. Let's yeah, why don't you go ahead and tape down the light, but you want to tape it down so that it's not touching the bulb. The one side is not touching the bulb, but it's close. And we may have to do some adjusting a little bit later, tinkering a little bit later, but that's okay. I built too many of these, so I have to
Did you put yours?
rethink the process.
Mine might be a bit too far.
That's the idea, right? But then when it's open,
There's a lot.
you create a switch.
I'm not dating it, but it's like.
So it looks a little bit like that. And you're absolutely correct. That's exactly what we're doing, is we are creating a switch in our circuit, where right now you do not have a complete circuit when the terminal isn't touching the battery, but as soon as we fold this polyhedra up, then it touches the battery, completes the circuit, and your light bulb turns on. So now we've added a switch to it. Okay, so you should find then in your, where was it? It was probably with your light bulbs, your LED light bulbs, there should be a short piece of thread in there. And I think it's white thread.
This?
That's the one. Absolutely, you got it. And that is what we're going to use to pull up our polyhedra. So we're going to thread this thread. Is that right? Do we thread a thread?
Yeah.
Through the holes in our polyhedra. What I do is I start on the inside and I go through the hole that is labeled C and going out, and then I go back in through the hole labeled D on top. And then you're gonna loop around the back side and go through towards you the hole labeled B on the left, and through the hole labeled E on the right towards you. And then I pick up the edge of the bottom of your template, where A and F is, and you feed the left hand string through A, and you feed the right hand string through F. And then tie those ends together.
We've got another question here.
Yep.
How do we stop the positive sides of the bulb from? That the little flap that's folded up?
So positive, so the one wire from touching the tape,
Yeah. That's the one that's bent up.
yeah, so it's bent up and like at a 45-degree angle.
Can you maybe, yeah, can you maybe hold that just at a different angle under the camera there?
I would, hang on, I taped mine down, so. So I bent both at 90 degrees to the bulb, and then I created a bow tie, or bent each into kind of, so it looks like a bow tie. And then the longer the cathode, I bent up at 90 degrees. And maybe what the question is if the end wire, I bend the loop so that the end wire is above the surface, not touching the surface. And that may keep it from drag, maybe though it's dragging. But it ends up starting, see, that need a background. Starting maybe looks like something like that. So the left side is your anode, which will be taped down to the copper wire. The right side is your cathode, which is bent upward direction. And then when the template is bent at 90 degrees, then that touches the battery. How's that come on?
Yeah,
It's kind of in focus.
he says she thinks she has it now.
Okay. Should have had a blown up image of that.
Okay.
So any questions with the wiring? Looks like I'm seeing good, excellent. So when you pull, everyone's ahead of me here. So when you pull that together, then you're created a cube again, like the cube we created before, but now it lights up on the inside. Any questions with that? Any issues getting that to light up? Well, that's exciting, but we could do better than that, can't we? We got a cube that lights up from the inside, but we really can't see the light, can we? Except at the edges. So this is where the creative part comes into play. You can decide what you want to do to make that cube light up. You can use your hole punch and maybe create a face on one side of your cube with your hole punch. Or I believe you have a push pin in your supplies where you could poke holes in the side and make a picture. Or I think I have an image of something I did.
Look at mine.
What I did was I put a face in mine so that it lights up. So you could do something like that. If you want to color the outside of your image, you can, or your template, you can do something like that. With the template, you can color it orange. If you could turn that into a pumpkin, make a jack-o'-lantern out of it, right? It's up to you. You now have a template as a cube, and you can be creative and decide what you want to do with that. All right, well, we've looked at a variety of different ways of creating with paper and with circuits today, and this is just scratching the surface. This is, we've given you a few ideas and hope that you can expand on these in the future. You have some extra materials to use. All of the materials we have provided are not hard to find. You can get the copper tape online. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's. LED lights, or you can get those. The sticker LED lights a little harder to get. Those come from a place called Chibitronics, but you can get those online through Amazon. It's a place like that. But all of these materials are accessible if you want to expand on that. Even the poly pull-ups, there are poly pull-ups for hedras, for cards, or for cubes, as well as other geometric shapes. You can find those online as well, or if you are interested, we can point you in the right direction. We certainly enjoy doing this kind of thing and being here with you. We hope that you will come back for another play shop. As I said, we do not have a play shop in December or January, but our next one will be February 1, called Dancing in the Dark, playing with lights and shadows. And so we'll continue to play with light, and that is on February 1. You can register and to be in person or online. We hope that, well, we'll see what the construction looks like by then. There still will be some construction by then and go through the spring, but you'll be in this room, and we'll help you find a way to get here, whatever that looks like.